Jai Jinendra, everyone. Welcoming Pallavi Di. Today we have guest lecture with the topic festivals. So first of all, before we start the lecture, let me shortly brief you all with Pallavi Di's introduction so that you can correlate the topic as well as what she does. Dr. Pallavi Shah is a dedicated educator and scholar, blending her expertise in Jain philosophy with modern pedagogical techniques to make spiritual learning engaging and impactful. She has pursued extensive Jain studies at Mangal Vidyapeeth Aligarh and the Parmagam Honours Program, deepening her understanding of Jain principles and their practical applications. Academically, Dr. Shah holds a postgraduate degree in dental surgery from Melbourne, Australia, and a master's in genealogy from the University of Madras, demonstrating her diverse expertise in both science and philosophy. As a passionate advocate for Jain education, Dr. Shah teaches the fundamentals of Jainism to children worldwide through an innovative 360-degree smart learning program designed to enhance life skills while instilling Jain values. Her integrative approach ensures that young learners connect with Jain teachings in a way that is interactive, meaningful, and relevant to modern life. With her unique blend of academic rigor, spiritual depth, and a forward thinking approach, Dr. Shah continues to inspire the next generation by making Jain philosophy both accessible and transformative. I would now hand over the mic to Pinkadi to start the session. We can start now.
Jai Jinendra, everyone. Thank you so much, Harshilji. That elaborate info was not required, and I'm very, very thankful for you and the entire Jeev team for this opportunity today to delve deeper into the spiritual aspects of Jain festivals and how they're different from all the festivals that we celebrate in the mundane world. So I'll take you all through a presentation now, and let's all start with Mangalacharan. नमो अर्हन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयिर्याणं नमो वज्झायाणं नमो लोवे सवसाहूणम् मङ्गलं भगवान् वीरो मङ्गलं गौतमो गणी मङ्गलं कुन्दकुन्दार्यो जैनधर्मो स्तु मङ्गलम् सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वकल्याणकारकं प्रधानं सर्वधर्माणां जैनं जयतु शासनम् जैनं जयतु शासनम्. Jai Jinendra, everyone. We have just celebrated one of the biggest festivals a couple of days back, and that is Mahavir Janma Kalyanak. And not just in India, but Jains all over the world have celebrated it with great zeal and zest. Today, let's dive deeper into some other aspects of what Jain festivals really mean. So, when we think of the word, when it strikes us the word festival, what are the first few thoughts that come to our mind? It's an opportunity to commemorate significant moments, to break free from our daily routines. Festivals can be all about meals, big food, decoration of places, and purchasing new clothes linked with shopping, music, dance, delicious food, fun, laughter, and lots of activities. But now let me invite each one of you with a question. Now, does this truly bring us happiness? Well, have you ever wondered what does the word festival mean? The word festival originates from the Latin word festivus, which means joyful and merry. Now, do all these external modes of festivities truly bring us happiness? Well, they may offer us temporary relief from daily stressors, or rather have a band aid effect. They can mask our stress. But do they provide us everlasting joy? Or are they rather triggers to our stress? Well, you'd be surprised to know that corona was not the biggest pandemic which the world faces. Rather, that is one of stress and anxiety. Is it even possible to have festivals without all the commotion, the stress, and anxiety, without all the to do lists, and yet which leave us with a sense of peace and contentment? Do you even think that is a possibility? And that guides us to a very unique concept of Jain festivals. The core purpose of Jain festivals is to lead us to eternal bliss and joy, to emphasize renunciation, a moment for self reflection, to practice austerity and penance, strive to understand the very essence of the soul, to emphasize activities such as scriptural study, worship, and self discipline. Festivals urge us to delve deep into the discovery of our true selves. Well, Einstein, who had over 100 inventions to his name, towards the end of his life, he said, "If I get a second life, and I get a second life as a human, I want to discover the discoverer." And that's how profound the unique concept of Jain festivals leads us to. It's about self purifications. It's embracing the virtues over vices, contemplation of fundamental principles of nature. Jain festivals are an opportunity to bring us back to one's true nature. It is to wisdom. It is to discern that wisdom of discrimination between the soul and the non soul. It's asking ourselves, who am I? Where have I come from? Where do I want to go from here? It is about differentiating between me and the non me. It leads us to a morality of the code of conduct of practice. Now, what are festivals in the context of religion? Let's take a look at this. Have you ever wondered what religion means? There's different facets of religion, but it originates from the word religare. This is a Latin word which leads us to connection. Festivals are all that which connect us or it binds us to ourselves. So, the occasions that mark the establishment of a relationship, or rather give rise to auspicious inclinations, they symbolize a new beginning, a fresh start, and that is what a festival means. During religious festivals, we deeply connect with our deities, with our scriptures and ascetics, the Deva Shastra Guru, because the trio of these is what lead us to the path of liberation. We renounce worldly pleasures, an opportunity to focus on worship, study, and contemplation that paves the way for self realization. Well, the very greatest intent, the very purpose of this human birth should be one for introspection and self realization, to embody the right belief, knowledge, and conduct. Now, while there are all these social festivals uh, in which it's all about meeting and greeting everyone around us, the spiritual festivals of Jainism invites us to come within because the journey upwards always begins with the journey inward. And let's dive deeper into this journey now. Today we are going to see the main types of Jain festivals, which are eternal and periodic festivals. What does eternal festivals even mean? Now, those celebrated from time immemorial, we've been doing it in the past, in the present, we all celebrate those, and they will always be celebrated until time indefinite. These auspicious occasions, they play a significant role in guiding numerous worldly souls towards the path of self realization. They often serve as transformative experiences and deepen the connection to the soul. The very purpose for our session today is to understand how we can deepen our connection with ourselves. Let's start with the king of all festivals, known as the Dashalakshan Mahaparva, which is the festival of 10 religious virtues. The Uttam Kshama, Uttam Mardhav, Ardhav, Arjav, Shoch, Satya, Sayam, Tapa, Tyag, Akinchanya, and Brahmacharya. And what does the word Uttam, what does the prefix Uttam even mean here? Let's have a look at all the details and view the magnificence of Dashalakshan Parv. Even when is it celebrated? Well, annually we have this opportunity thrice from the 5th to the 14th day of the waxing moon cycle. It falls in the month of Bhadrapad, which is around August September, once in Magh, which is about January or February, and the Chaitra Mas, which is March or April. In fact, we've all just celebrated the Dashlakshan Parva, which has ended yesterday of the Chaitra Mas. When did Dashalakshan Parva even begin? Let's take a look at the antiquity of Jainism, at the antiquity of the Dashalakshan Parva. Now, the time cycle, which is also known as Kala Chakra, is made up of two halves. One is a progressive or ascending time cycle, also known as Utsarpini, and the regressive or descending, known as Avsarpini. Both together make up one time cycle. Now, as the fifth era of the regressive cycle ends, there's violence and havoc that strikes until the conclusion, right from the start of the sixth era until to the end. Towards the end, there's a 49-day catastrophe, also known as Pralaykal, which brings in various disasters and grave natural calamities, also called as the apocalypse. 7 consecutive days, and imagine 7 consecutive weeks, the land is devastated by torrential rains of ice, acid, poison, smoke, sandstorm, and other calamities. It zaps the land of all its fertility, and there is no no scope for any future blossoming of land. The land is already devoid of all its nurturing, all its nourishing, and very few humans that remain, they actually take refuge in the caves alongside the Ganga and Sindhu river. Now, who teaches us to heal and restore better than nature? After the 7 consecutive days and the 7 consecutive weeks of an apocalypse is the beginning of a new era. That's when the progressive cycle begins anew. The scorched land is rejuvenated by 7 different types of rain, starting with Pushkar, which is a ghee like structure, like Kshir, which is like milk, Amrit, Rasa, medicine, elixir, perfume, and water. This naturally fertilizes the land and prepares it for the beginning of blossoming of life. Now, after the 49 days, is the beginning of a progressive time cycle. It revives the barren and the arid land with 7 different types of rains, and then the survivors emerge. They come out of the caves and they embrace virtues like forgiveness and mark the start of a new era of non violence. And that's when a 10-day festival dedicated to 10 virtues is celebrated. So this also marks the antiquity of Dashlakshan Parva of Jain Dharma. What even is the festival of the 10 religious virtues? What does dharma even mean? It's got more than one definitions of dharma. The nature of a substance is known as its dharma. The root of right belief forms dharma. Practice of the right code of conduct. Charitam khalu dhammo, danshan mulo dhammo. And there is ahimsa parmo dharma. Non-violence is the supreme dharma. The Dasha Dharma denote 10 inherent characteristics of religion. With the term religion here signifies the true essence of things. In this case, it is our soul. This festival aims to foster worship and realization of the pure soul's very nature, and through these virtues, we embrace them, and we encourage individuals to explore their true self. Now, what even does embracing the virtues even mean? Regrettably, this is often misconstrued as a list of don'ts. I don't do this, and but we often forget what is the most important thing that matters. Often, rituals, our lives are masked by rituals such as renouncing greens, external austerity, and penance. But we forget to lead us to the things that matter, and that is the purity of the soul, to experience that purity. Well, even those who celebrate it annually, and how many times have we even celebrated Dashalakshan Parva so far? Three times our age, but we have often forgotten to grasp its profound significance if we have not yet experienced the pure soul and experienced the profoundness of the soul. Here we together endeavor to illuminate the magnificence of this festival and to empower each one here to delve into the magnificence of the pure soul. The pure soul is a fountain of happiness. It's made up of infinite values, infinite attributes, knowledge, infinite vision, infinite energy, infinite bliss. It is permanent, eternal, indestructible, invisible, inseparable, subtle, and that's how the infinite qualities or attributes of the pure soul coexist together. Is there any room for kashai and karma in the pure soul? Well, Jainism believes that passions, kashai, they actually strangulate the soul. They are the root cause of karmic bondage, which is the attachment of karma to the soul and leads us to the rebirth and cycle of transmigration of birth and death. Well, everyone here in this mundane world is in this ring of fire, also known as suffering. What are ways to get rid of that suffering? Is what we will dive deep into today. Now, the pure soul by itself is devoid of any kashai or karma. However, when the pure soul indulges, engrosses into the non soul, that's when all the attachment and the aversion arises, leading to the bondage of karmas. And there's different intensities of passions. The intensities of the passions determine the strength of the karmic bondage. And we must understand what are the intensities in order to let loose of those passions and in order to go within ourselves. Now, Anantanubandhi, which is extremely severe or the most intense passion, level of passion, it obstructs the right belief. It is about delusion and ignorance, which prevents the attainment of liberation. Apratyakhyanavaran. This level hinders partial renunciation, however, it does not affect true belief. Now, Anantanubandhi can be compared to a crack or a line in a massive rock or a mountain. How many years would it take to diminish or get rid of that crack in the mountain? Well, it could be millions, zillions, and that's what Anantanubandhi means. Infinite bondage is what Anantanubandhi means. Apratyakhyanavaran is analogous to a crack in a piece of wood. Well, it will take time, but there are some chances that it will um, diminish over time. Pratyakyanavaran karma, which is moderate, this level obstructs the total renunciation. However, it allows for partial renunciation. This is analogous to a line in sand or mud. There's a gust of wind and that gets diminished. Sanjvalan, or the slightest intensity, hinders the attainment of total correct conduct but doesn't affect the right belief or monkhood. The four types of kashai, or the passions that are constantly strangulating the soul and which keep us in the cycle of birth and death, are anger, pride, deceit, and greed. Now, in order to overcome these passions, are these three golden opportunities of celebrating the 10 virtues during the Dasha Lakshan Parva. Have you ever wondered what does the word supreme mean? Supreme or Uttam means that which is associated with right belief and right knowledge. Supreme forgiveness. We often forgive others as a social etiquette and seek for apologies. But how many times have we sought forgiveness from our soul for keeping it in the cycle of birth and death infinitely? The supreme forgiveness is to forgive the soul for all the kashai and all the passions that we have inflicted to. Supreme modesty is about letting go of one's pride, and not just pride, but also a sense of pity, of being humble. We often think, when we think of who am I, we think I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm beautiful, I'm ugly. I'm this and I'm that. But have we ever realized I am just a pure soul and letting go, surrendering all our ego? Well, forgiveness is only a trait of the brave hearted. And when we can forgive others and forgive ourselves, we really experience a sense of humility or humility. The total depletion or the total absence of anger is forgiveness, is supreme forgiveness. The total absence of pride and pity is supreme modesty, which then takes us to the day three is supreme straightforwardness. Total harmony of the thoughts, the words, and the actions is uttam arjava. The entire world has been faced with lots of stress and psychological disorders because we often want to look good yet feel miserable inside. And the supreme forgiveness, modesty, straightforwardness, these act as medicine for the soul. Supreme purity, letting go of the greed and embracing the purity of the soul. Day 5 is supreme truth, understanding the truth of one's own existence, the Uttam Satya, and embracing that truth. Next is supreme self restraint. From time immemorial, the Jiva has always engrossed in the five sense pleasures or the objects of the five sense pleasures. We've become slaves of our senses. However, this is an opportunity to gain mastery over one's soul. Supreme self restraint or austerity, or Uttam Sayam as it is called, is a golden opportunity to celebrate the richness and the wealth and luxuries of being in one's own soul. Supreme penance or Uttam Tapa. Just as gold from the mines is impure, and when the gold is heated, it destroys all the impurities, and the nobility of the gold flourishes in itself. Similarly, supreme penance is one opportunity to get rid of all the impurities of attachment, aversion, the kashais, and experience the pure soul. Supreme renunciation or Uttam Tyaga, renunciating all the things that have been holding us from liberation, renunciating all the things that have been keeping us from our true experiencing our true pure self. The ninth day is supreme non attachment, Uttam Akinchanya, attachment to the soul and non attachment to everything other than the soul. And day 10 is supreme celibacy, Uttam Brahmacharya. Brahma is the pure soul, and to indulge, to engross in the purity and experience the pure soul is Uttam Brahmacharya. And we have not one but three opportunities every single year to celebrate the glory and the magnificence of the soul. Now, the next question might be, why just these 10 virtues need to be embraced every single day? Why only 10 days and thrice a year? Now, they should be practiced every single day. However, achieving this is not always easy. During these days, individuals set aside their routine and they immerse themselves in the study of scriptures. The supreme signifies the values as accompanied by the right belief and right knowledge. Just as the root of the tree are very important for flourishing of the entire tree. For the pure soul to flourish, the right belief and right knowledge form the roots of the tree for liberation. Now, we are all hijacked by artificial intelligence, but the Dashalakshan Dharma, the Dashalakshan Parva, is an opportunity to celebrate the Atmic intelligence. That is what really matters. We so look for strong Wi Fi connections outside, but the strongest Wi Fi is that when we connect to our own selves. It's not about the meet and greet outside, but once meeting and greeting the pure soul is all that really matters. The Dashalakshan Parva is one for amplifying the happiness and joy and to experience it within. In Jain scriptures, the reference to the 10 virtues is associated with Jain ascetics because they are the ones who embody it daily every moment of their life. The celebration of this festival is for householders like us who view the ascetics as role models. We want to become like them. Right now, we might not have the potential to unleash our true self and to take Diksha and become an ascetic, but we aspire to emulate them. We aspire to become like them in near future because that is the only way we can attain liberation. Liberation from karmas, liberation from pleasure and pain, and experience the infinite bliss. Now, after the festival of the 10 religious virtues, the last 3 days from the 9th to the 11th are celebrated as Sri Ratnatraya Vrat, the trio of the three precious jewels of Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gyan, and Samyak Charitra, which is right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. And the 12th day is celebrated as a day of forgiveness, Kshamavani Parv. Kshamavani, when the purity of the soul is experienced, day one, which we celebrated as Uttam Kshama, and all the other 9 days, what happens is the purity of the soul experienced comes out through our words, and we seek for forgiveness from everyone. And that is the time when we have also forgiven our soul for all the different karmas we have attracted and acquainted over the years. And we commemorated that we do not want these karmas. We immediately, as soon as possible, we want to get rid of this cycle of birth and death. So, Uttam Kshama is a day for supreme forgiveness. And on this auspicious occasion of Kshamavani Parva, we would like to seek forgiveness if we have hurt anyone intentionally or be it unintentionally by our words or our silence or even by our inaction. Talking about non-violence, the entire world, all religions speak about non-violence. But where the non-violence of all the religion ends, that's where the non-violence, that's where the ahimsa of Jainism even begins. Because non-violence in other religions speaks about not hurting others through feelings or emotions, but here it is about not hurting the own soul as well. So it's about changing the perception of our vision. Let us strive to celebrate this pure festival every single year in its true essence and aim to attain the passionless state of the soul. The entire the entire aim is to experience the true bliss and happiness, to amplify the happiness within. After Dashlakshan Parva comes the next big festival known as the Ashthanika Mahaparv. The term Ashta means 8 and Ani means days. Like the Dashlakshan Parva celebrated thrice, the Ashthanika Parva is also celebrated thrice, this one from the 5th to the 14th day of the waxing cycle of the moon. In the months of Kartik, which is about November, Falgun, which is March or April, and Ashad, which is July. Now, during Asthanika festival, the celestial being, the heavenly gods, they participate in this festival by detaching themselves from the material pleasures and they journey to Nandishwar Dweep. Where even is Nandishwar Dweep? We have islands which are concentric, surrounded by oceans, and we stay in the Jambu Dweep, which is the centermost, surrounded by the Lavan Samudra, and like that, the eighth one is the Nandishwar Dweep, And it's a place where humans cannot travel. Although you and I cannot travel there, we can still honor its significance. During this Ashtanik Parva, the celestial gods continuously worship, study Jain scriptures. There's discussions on Jain philosophy, introspections of the self to attain right belief and liberation from worldly suffering. Well, although we cannot go there, we honor its significance by constructing a model in our temples and engaging in 8 days of worship. Why should we even celebrate Ashtanika Mahaparva when we cannot go to the uh, Nandishwar Dweep? Now, the reason we celebrate this is that if the celestial beings who have the highest pleasures, they are deeply engrossed in their materialistic pleasures. However, during these 8 days, they let go of all their pleasures and with such enthusiasm, zeal, and zest, they come and celebrate this festival. Shouldn't you and I, who have such meager, such miserly pleasures, and who are constantly suffering from unhappiness, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to delve deep into realizing our soul. And it's also very important to realize that the explanations of the karma theory, the cosmology, the Karnani Yoga mentions that during these festive days of Parva, there's exceptionally pure and there's bondage of the karmas, be it auspicious karmas, inauspicious karmas, dispositions of punya or pap. Both multiply several times. So there's multi-flux of karmas during these days. And we must restrict ourselves from sinful actions during these auspicious days. Now, the 8th and the 14th day of every moon cycle, just like we saw the Shlakshan Parva, we saw the Ashtanik Mahaparva, there's lots and lots of opportunities for us to dive deep to experience the purity of the soul. Now, the festival of Ashtami and Chaturdashi, it happens 4 times every month, and Jains celebrate these occasions by abstaining from consuming green vegetables. They engage in various spiritual practices, visiting temples, worshipping idols, observing fasts, engaging in scriptural reading, dedicating time for meditation, contemplation, reflection, introspection. Jains refrain from eating at night and they make extra efforts on these days to immerse into the purity of the soul. And this is an opportunity to contemplate the teachings of the omniscience and Jain scriptures. Why is the 8th and 14th day of the moon cycle even celebrated? Well, Chaturdashi means 14, and as there are 14 rungs to the spiritual ladder, fasting on the day of Chaturdashi is aimed at progressing through these 14 stages of development and attaining the state of eternal ultimate bliss, the state of Siddhahood. And on the day of Ashtami, it is aimed at eradicating the 8 karmas which have held us in the cycle of transmigration and manifesting the 8 attributes akin to the Siddhas. Why even is the 8th and 14th day of every moon cycle so significant? Now, here is where spirituality is backed by science. From a scientific perspective, the earth is made from the earth has over 70% of water, and our bodies reflect just that. Our bodies are made up of over 70% of water. And we all know that the changes in the moon, the lunar cycle, affects the tides of water on the earth. And so do they affect the emotional tides of humans as well, and all living beings. Abstaining from grains or fasting helps us maintain the water level, keep the balance, and promote optimal health during these days. These celebrations hold both spiritual as well as scientific explanations. And our scientists have realized this, have discovered this, have had all the inventions since only a few decades or a few hundred years. But our acharyas, our Guru Bhagwans, have been telling us this right from eternity that the only way to delve into the purity of the soul is to stop looking outside and to go within. Now, there's three prominent dispositions: getting rid or discarding all the inauspicious dispositions and taking shelter of the auspicious dispositions. But what is the entire purpose of the auspicious dispositions? Is to gain the equanimity, the samta bhav. Now, just like if someone is taking a photograph and he says, "Smile, please," we don't even know the photographer, and yet don't we instantly smile immediately and every single time when someone is clicking a snap? Here, our acharyas, our gurus, our bhagwans have been telling us since eternity that samta please, over different festivals, the only one main core purpose is to attain that samta, to stay in that state of equanimity, to discard the ashubh, to leave the shubh, and to indulge and deeply encross into the Shuddha Bhav. That is the entire purpose of our spiritual festivals. While the social festivals are all about connections outside, the spiritual festivals are celebrations of the pure soul, and not just during Dashlakshan Parva or Ashtami or Chaturdashi or Ashtanik Parva. Every single day, every single moment, we must experience the vibrance of our soul. After the eternal festivals, it's time to delve into the periodic festivals. Now, periodic festivals are those celebrated within a specific time, and they are associated either with particular individuals or specific events. It serves the purpose of acquainting us and remembering specific individuals or events, primarily Tirthankars and our esteemed ascetics, our saints, who achieve remarkable feats and bring glory to the religion. Over time, the significance of these events and individuals, it might fade as newer events or figures take precedence, just like how many of us remember the past 24 Tirthankars or the ones before them. Well, we might not remember them. However, it does not fade their significance. It instills in us values such as patience, perseverance, dedication to the true path of liberation, and it serves as catalysts for religious contemplation. The prime purpose of all the festivals, be it eternal festivals or periodic festivals, is to learn discipline, devotion, diligence, and patience, perseverance, and persistence of staying in one's soul. How many times have we celebrated Dashlakshan Parva or Ashtanika Parva only culturally offering things to God, offering the Ashtadravyas? It's been about more about the do's, ticking lists of this is what I want to do, but we often forget what is it that is really meant to be done. We forget that we are human beings, and the very fact that these parvas are trying to tell us is just to be and experience the purity. We have transformed ourselves with evolution. Human beings have transformed into human doings, but this is the time to take back our own power and experience the brilliance of the pure soul. Whatever our Tirthankars have told us, the soul, whenever it indulges into the non soul, into everything that is not me, that's when there's remarkable influx of karmas. And who can control this influx of karmas? None other than I, me, myself. So, this is an opportunity for us to take back our own power and to conquer over our vices, to conquer over everything that really matters, and to experience the brilliance of the pure soul. Now, among the periodic festivals are Shruta Panchami. Let's take a dive at some of the periodic festivals. Shruta Panchami, when is it celebrated? Once annually, and on the fifth day in the waxing or lunar phase of the month of the Jyeshta Shukla Panchami, and it corresponds in the month of May and June. Now, before we take a look at the Shruta Panchami, all the knowledge that we have currently is only because of the foresightedness of our acharyas. Well, in the fourth era and the fifth, we are in the fifth era. The knowledge in the fourth era was transmitted from one being to the other, from one Bhagwan, from Mahavir Bhagwan to his Gandhars, and it has flowed up to us. And we are ever so lucky to receive that knowledge in a scripted form. Knowledge was never scripted like that before, it was only passed orally. But this tradition of scripted knowledge has been celebrated as Shruta Panchami. And aren't we all so lucky to be able to experience the profoundness of Jinvani through Shruta Panchami? Had it not been for the foresightedness of Dharsen Acharya, you and I would be totally devoid of the magnificence of our Tirthankars. We believe in our Tirthankars, but do we also believe in the path which they have shown us? Now, the tradition of knowledge of Jainism, we have numerous Jain scriptures really available in most Jain temples. There is so much access, there is an overconsumption of information. But what about transformation that really matters? We have access in our own languages, making it so easy even just from the click of a phone or our laptop. Have you ever wondered how was this even possible? Where did it all even begin? The divine sermons of the Tirthankars. They serve as a primary medium through which the true essence of religion is understood. The divine pavilion in the Samavcharan, the Tirthankars, they emanate the Divya Dhvani in the form of Om, and the teachings are then passed on to the chief preceptors, the Gandhars, who transform this divine wisdom into the 12 compilations, which is known as the Dwadashanki. And this knowledge is orally transmitted from the Acharya to the disciples, and that's how the tradition continues. Now, why is Shruta Panchami even celebrated? After the liberation of Mahavir Swami, the last Tirthankar, the oral transmission of the knowledge persisted for how long? It was 683 years. However, as human cognitive abilities began to diminish, as the time cycle, as we have the descending time cycle, the cognitive abilities begin to diminish, the power, the focus begins to diminish, and much of the knowledge was also lost. In this challenging situation, it was Acharya Dharsen who took the initiative to impart this knowledge, and he remembered two very capable disciples who then recorded the Jinvani in the form of a scripture. This monumental task was undertaken by Acharya Pushpadanta and Bhutpali, who composed the first written text known as Shat Khand Agam. Shat is six and Khand is volumes. As an auspicious introductory verse of scripture, the Mangalacharan, which we just said today, is also inscribed. The Namokar Mahamantra is also the Mangalacharan of Shatkhandaka. The composition of the scripture was completed on this day of Shruta Panchami at Ankleshwar, and a grand celebration followed, making Shruta Panchami a joyous occasion to venerate the scriptures. Since how long have we been venerating scriptures, and when do we intend to actually transform our lives from these scriptures? How many Shruta Panchamis have we celebrated? And which is that Shruta Panchami we want to celebrate and transform our lives and experience our pure soul? Harshilji, are there any questions from
Yes,
anyone?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
sure,
Let me just check with the audience. First
sure.
of all, thank you so much for this explanation to eternal as well as periodic festivals. Since we have recently finished the Lakshan Parv, I would request everyone, if you have any question related to the lecture in and around the topic, please welcome anyone. So let me start a question. I have one, two questions which I would like to entertain here. My first question would be knowing that we have the Lakshan Parv happening thrice in a year. Any specific reason why we celebrate only Bhadrapad Daslakshan Parv with great enthusiasm? Any specific reason to that?
Well, that's a great question. Now, out of the three Dashlakshan Parvas, in the month of Bhadrapad, that's the rainy season, and people usually take out time for the 10 days. And because there's a lot of, as it rains, there's a lot of little jeeves, uh, multifold jivas around. And in order to prevent hinsa of these jivas, in order to have maximum non-violence, individuals take off these 10 days, and that is celebrated with maximum zeal and zest and vigor. However, we often forget there's two more opportunities of Dashlakshan Parva to be celebrated.
Okay, thank you so much for the explanation. Again, the mic is open for questions if anyone has any question related to eternal festival, periodic festival.
And also during the Bhadrapad, all the Muni Maharaj, they are static for 4 months. They are in one place, and there is more prabhavna by Muni Maharaj also, because people can go and listen to their sermons. And because people take time off, there are deeper chances. It is an opportunity to disconnect from everything outside and to connect to one's own soul.
That's
I think I may add one comment on this one. Ma'am, you did a fantastic presentation. I'm sorry I was able to join late, but then the presentation is amazing. The one that we talk about, the Das Lakshan Parva in Bhadrapad, actually the story goes as this way that when there is a pralay comes, 49 days, 7 weeks, there is a destructive rain occurs, and everything gets destroyed practically. And a few of the couples, they remain in one of the caves, and thereafter that 49 days are gone, then another 49 days of 7 days each of a susrushti, means the 4 days of rain and 3 days of sun and etc. comes, and all the vegetations and everything comes back. And when that 49 days ends, then the 10 days of Paryushan starts, Bhadrapad. So that's why it says it's an eternal festival that we celebrate forever, because the time cycle is forever. So that's what my reading is saying, said that way. So
Thank you very much, Kiriji. Yes, it was mentioned towards the beginning of the presentation. We went through the 7 consecutive days and seven
yes,
consecutive weeks, but I'm so glad you highlighted that. And the importance of the Dashlakshan Parva is the beginning of a fresh start. And we are blessed with three such beginnings in our year, not just once. If you've missed once, there's always another one. And Dashlakshan Parva, although we celebrate it thrice a year, it is something to be celebrated every single day, not just one day, but all the attributes every single day of our life. And hence it was said that the ones who embody it are our Muniraj. They are the ones who supremely we want to emulate them, we want to become like them. And hence we all want to experience the pure soul and experience the infinite bliss like them.
yes.
Thank you.
That's why I'm sorry. That's why I joined late, so I probably missed out that one. So I mean,
Oh,
you
no, all
already
good.
finished that one,
All good. I'm so glad you highlighted that.
It's good. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you for
Well,
highlighting the point, great
enlightening.
uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't find any more questions here. One last questions to the audience, and then Pallavi Di can also answer the same answer to the question. The question is, since all our festivals talk about the complete enlightenment, which is the Siddhi Dasha, how can we make the festivals more spiritual and supportive to fulfill the real motive of our life? Anybody from the audience, since we have celebrated Mahavir Jayanti, the Slakshan Parv recently, If you have any points to make the festivals uh, more close to your own soul, please you can give out some points. Anybody
I
from the
think
audience?
I think the festival practically it rejuvenates my internal spirituality, because there is waxing and waning occurs in human life, and we get really get attracted to the outside world and all the things, and when such type of festival comes, right away it just takes me back within my spirituality. So I think that's what my understanding is. My interest keeps on going down, and suddenly a festival comes, and now it gets pushed. The things get to the next level of spirituality.
Thank you, Uncle. Thank you so much. Pallavidi, any points from your end as well as
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, thank you, Kiritji. And let's come back to where we started from. So we started from the word festival, and which originates from the word festivus, which means joyful and merry. So the festival comes as a reminder for us to stay in the joyful and merry state at all times. But because it is difficult due to the rut of life, the attachment and aversion and ignorance and delusion, which has kept us in this cycle of transmigration, is on one side. And on the other side, we are blessed with a myriad of these so many festivals to remind us of our true nature. And just the social festivals are there, but it is the spiritual festivals which really matter, and which are the ones which will one it helps us to go within, because the journey upwards begins with the journey inwards. And that's how we all must celebrate these festivals and experience their magnificence as well.
sure. Thank you so much. Points noted. And I think we don't have any further questions. Uh, Pallavidi, can you unshare the screen so that I can share my screen and conclude the
Sure.
session?
And
So let me just shortly tell you all about the accessible points. So, to enjoy such lectures, we have planned the complete series. We have one more lecture of Pallavidi in the coming week. To get the regular updates, you need to visit our website, which is right in front of you. Even I have shared the link, all the accessible points in the chat box. If you have any queries, feel free to reach out on support@jeev.net.in. All the social media handles have already been shared via link through you. And if you want to enjoy the lectures offline on YouTube, let's say the lecture conducted today will get uploaded after 24 hours from now. So you can enjoy those lectures later on as well. And if it is in the vicinity of your time, you can definitely enjoy the live lectures as well. Okay, so I think that's the end to the session. And Pallavi, we can start with the Mangalacharan.
स्तुति with the Janvani स्तुति. निज निधि निज में बता दी, यह अनंत उपकार है। इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है, वंदना शत बार है। जय
Nine
जिनेंद्र।
times, 9 times Namokar mantra.